We have emergency kits for earthquakes and wildfires, but I'm sure there's something more local I can send you with a link.
Okay, smart.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
In Philly, everyone's reading this year's One Book, One Philadelphia selection, True Biz by Sarah Novich. And right now, the Free Library of Philadelphia is hosting free events, discussions, and creative workshops, all inspired by True Biz, its themes, and the history and culture of our deaf community. On May 22nd, join us for a celebration with author Sarah Novich and poet and National Book Award finalist Ilya Kaminsky. Details, book club kits, and American Sign Language resources at freelibrary.org/onebook.
Tune in to Eco Word Magazine, hosted by POC, the first Friday at 10 a.m. for the PA Lottery Eco Word Fact of the Month. Brought to you by PA Lottery, benefiting older Pennsylvanians every day.
Celebrating Black excellence worldwide and bringing joy and power to the people. This is WURD 900 AM and 96.1 FM, Philadelphia. Streaming online on wordradio.com and the Word Radio app. The views and opinions expressed by the guests, listeners, and hosts of any program on Word Radio do not necessarily reflect those of the ownership, management, or advertisers of this station.
I'm simply saying that life finds a way.
All right, people, write something on the board. Let's spell it. First letter.
L. O. G.
What's that? What?
It's time. It's time to have real, honest, open, difficult, and inspiring conversations. It's time for Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Well, hello there, family. Hello and welcome. Welcome to Love and Life with Carol Riddick right here on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. Welcome to Tuesday, May 14th. Here we are in the middle of the month already. I still don't believe it. I do hope all is well with you and with yours. I pray that you're having a wondrous start to your week. To that point, how are things with you? How are they coming along? How is everything? Hey there, Nick. Sending a hello to you. How are you today?
Hey, Carol, I'm doing all right. I'm appreciating the funny weather.
Funny is a great. That's a great way to describe it. It is funny. It has jokes, doesn't it?
Yeah, I have no clue what month I'm in right now. I can't tell.
I said, please God, don't let my system fail me. Don't let it break, because I've turned the air on, I've turned it off, I've turned it back on, I've turned it off. I said, okay, well, you know what? First of all, these are all jokes, because God, you know, I'm only playing. I'm only playing. I'm in no way complaining. Let me tell you that, family. I am not complaining. Not in the least bit. But in any event, feel free to let us know that you are good too, and that you're joining us. You know, we love it when you hang out with us. Nick and I do. You can share a comment with us on our socials. You know, we love it when you do that. Or you can even give us a call. You can do that by dialing 215-634-8065. You can even call us toll free. You can do that by dialing 1-866-361-0900. Family, it's time for our Black History 365 moment. Yes, it is. Computer scientist and engineer Mark Dean, born on March 2nd, 1956 in Jefferson City, Tennessee, is a co-inventor of IBM's original personal computer. Okay? And the PC color monitor, changing the face of technology. He holds 3 of the 9 PC patents for being the co-creator of the IBM personal computer, released in 1981. Because of his trailblazing work, he became the first Black person to be named an IBM Fellow in 1999. That is the highest honor given to a person for technology contributions to the company. He also co-created the technology that enables printers, keyboards, disk drives, and monitors to be plugged directly into computers. Did you know that, Nick? I had no idea.
No, I never knew that.
I never knew that. And he's so young. He's so young. He's so young. I said, oh, we're going to have to try to find him. I would love to have a conversation with him. That's just amazing. Wishing a happy birthday to everybody that is celebrating. Happy birthday to you. That's right. And sending extra love and hugs to everybody whose light is shining even the least bit dimly today. We want you to know that your tribe and your village are here and that you are not alone. You hear me? You've got your support right here. You've got it right here. I also want to extend our love to all of those affected or suffering loss from circumstances beyond our control. You know, I was sharing that with you yesterday, and I mean, every day I feel like I'm reading something in the news, something that is just, I mean, just insane, insane. Oh, you know what? I want to take a moment because I don't remember which one of our family members it was yesterday that called in last night and was talking about the move bombing. I really, really dropped the ball on our Black History 365 moment yesterday because I did not realize that yesterday was the anniversary of the move bombing. So I do want to, I just wanted to make that known and to go back to that and to say thank you so much for bringing that to my attention and to the attention of our family members who may also have been unaware or didn't realize that yesterday was the anniversary. I don't, Nick, do you remember that, the move bombings?
Yeah, you know what? I actually learned about them. I didn't learn about them in high school. I learned about them when I went to community college for one of my justice courses. And I remember thinking how crazy it was that I had gone 18 or 19 years living in Philadelphia. Nobody around me ever talked about it. Nobody in my family ever talked about it. And I got people, you know, in my family that are involved with politics. Until I brought that up, people all of a sudden, people in my family had an opinion about it. But before that, I had never heard it from the schools. I never heard the news talk about it. It was news to me. I had no idea that something like that had happened relatively recently in Philadelphia history. It's pretty crazy.
I remember the day it happened. I remember the day. I remember the state of the city. I remember I mean, it was just everybody was in a state of shock and I mean, it was, and despair, actually. I remember it was just, it was horrible. It was horrible. It was horrible. And you know what? To that point you just made, I don't know that I've ever heard anybody talk about it like, oh, most certainly not in any of the schools in which I've worked. That's interesting. You're absolutely right about that, Nick.
Well, I mean, I guess you could chalk it up to the curriculum, you know. Typically there's not a course in like a high school that's just dedicated to current events or even like the city in which you live in, because it has to be tailored to, you know, your location. So I can understand how it wouldn't come up. Maybe in a civics class it might.
I was
something like that, yeah.
I was about to say, even listen, we talk about what, political science, we talk about politics, we talk about civics, it can come up in any number of conversations. And I don't know that it could. Well, let me not speak on what I don't know, because what I will say is that I've not heard anyone mention it to me, anyone of a younger generation even mention it to me. Everyone's always surprised when the conversation comes up. They're
I
always
mean,
surprised. So,
and it could just be that it's a very sore subject to teach, because the documentary that I watched about it was pretty neutral. It showed both sides, how the police agitated them, how they agitated the neighborhood, the move people, and how it kind of came to blows like this. And I'm glad that it was neutral, because I have seen another documentary which frames the move people as like just straight up terrorists. And I thought,
yeah.
oh well, that's, you can't, you're not supposed to do that. I think, but people are naturally going to lean to one side. But what's interesting about the conversation about the move bombing is that a lot of people agree that it was not handled correctly at all.
Mm-hmm.
And who could disagree with that? Nobody wants a bomb dropped on their house.
Mm-mm.
Nobody.
Mm-mm.
It was very controversial, to say the least.
Oh, absolutely. And you're right. The majority of the narratives that were shared with me were that had the blame placed on the members of Move. That it was I'm happy to hear that you shared that you saw a documentary that was kind of neutral. I'm happy to hear that, because none of us were in the crux of it. What I remember is shock, horror, despair. I remember seeing people cry. I remember it was really horrifying, because it so I lived in South Philly. I grew up in South Philly, and I really wasn't aware. I didn't have much knowledge of, about the Move organization or the members. And that day, it I mean, it was like and it was Philadelphia's own, if you will, and be easy with me, family. It was Philadelphia's own 911. It really was, because you're talking about children. You're talking about, I mean, just people, but it was horrible. It was horrible, Nick. It was horrible. It was just horrible. It really was. Family, for those of you who are familiar or who lived in the area, or have additional information, I'd really be interested in hearing your comments or knowing what you think about it. And I am terribly sorry that I did not realize that yesterday was the anniversary. um I couldn't believe when our family members shared that. I said, oh my goodness, it was Boycott Strike who shared yesterday. And thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing. When you said it, I was like still for a moment, because it should definitely be recognized. I do want to share that our family members are checking in and are sharing comments, and I'm about to share them. Nasir is checking in. Hi there. He shares peace and blessings with the family. We receive them and share them back. Malcolm shares that he's watching and listening from West Mount Airy. Willie Matthew Williams, our beloved, shares love and light with everybody. And Eric shares, hey, family, how's everybody doing on this terrific Tuesday? It's his birthday eve. Woohoo. We love that. We love that, Eric. Alfred is checking in as well. And Malcolm shares that he used to live not far from that area in the 70s. He shares that he was right across the bridge in Camden at the time. He turned on the news that morning and he was getting ready for work and was in shock. Yes, on what he was seeing. Yes, it was. Our love light Shauna Lee is checking in, and she shares, oh wow, hi there. How there? Alfred shares it was traumatic. It really was. It really was. And Shauna shares that she lived at 6212 Pine Street during that time. So you remember it well. You remember it well. Malcolm shares that he went back to the area after the fire and the smoke was still overwhelming. I did the same thing. I was standing blocks away. I visited the neighborhood after that. I felt compelled to go visit the neighborhood. And it was just sad. It was so sad. It was so sad. Dr. Paul Hopkins is checking in. Hello there. Blessings to you as well. It was Eric shares that he remembers that it was one of the most inhumane, shocking, and devastating situations that he ever witnessed. It was sad. It was a sad and horrifying day for the city of Philadelphia. It was. It really was. It was. Miss Audrey, our love light, is joining us. She shares, she'd be remiss if she did not mention, for all that has been said, homage, love, respect for the light in their hearts, the strength within their living souls. Reminded that MOVE protesters have demonstrated without an attack on our Capitol in Washington. Remembering that we do not know what type of commanders were the hierarchy of veteran John Africa. Separate from that, be sure to watch the 6th movie about May 3rd, reference Wikipedia. Okay, the 6th is the movie titled The 6th. I don't know. Thank you, Miss Audrey. Our love light, Joanne Kemp shares, I remember the news reporter asked one of the neighbors how she felt, and the neighbor was crying, saying that she just wanted someone to do something, but not to kill them. I remember that. Our love light, Rosalind, hi there. She shares, good evening, everyone. She's sending everyone our flowers while we're still here to smell them. It's a new day that the Lord has made. I'm going to go to our phone lines right now. One of our family members is checking in. Hello, and thank you so much for calling.
Well, good evening, sister. This is Rick calling you long distance from Germany.
Good evening, Rick. How are you? It's good to hear from you.
It's good to be alive one more day.
Yes. Yeah. Amen.
I was newly installed in my sister and brother's life. I was separated from my sister and brother for crimes against them as an elder brother and the foster care system. But in 1984, I was contacted by the foster father, and he asked me if I would like to rent his basement. And that came about in 85, March of 85. And the news of the MOVE situation was one of the first major news stories that I watched on the 12 o'clock news, on the 6 o'clock news, and then it was a blackout in Washington, D.C. for me. I think too many of us in the middle income educated communities, we thought of the Nation of Islam and MOVE as terrorist organizations. And we didn't see very much good until something extreme happened to them. And I think more than the police were involved in what happened that day. I think MOVE has grown over the last, I don't know, how long has it been? I can't do the math. I think MOVE has grown as a community, and I think respect for them has grown. It is not so crazy to want to change your diet and improve your health. It is not so crazy to fear medical mistakes in the hospital system, misdiagnosis in the hospital system. But at the same time, I think MOVE is a lot less paranoid and a lot more accepted today. That's all I have for you today, sis.
Thank you for that, Rick. Thank you so much. So much. I did see that one of our family members asked, what year was that? It took place in 1985. It was on May 13th in 1985. And as history recalls, it shares that 11 people were killed and 250 people were made homeless as a result. Oh, family. Our love light, Miss Audrey, has another message that she shared with us that I'm going to read when we come back from this commercial break. I'm looking at the time. Family, know that the phone lines, they're always open. I always welcome you to the conversation, and feel free to continue to comment on our socials. We will be right back.
Want the latest in word swag? Check out the shop tab on wordradio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. It's the shop tab on wordradio.com. You can look good and show the world that you're all about Black Talk Media.
Registration is now open for the 2024 Pennsylvania Conference for Women. This exciting event will feature Shirley Ralph, Robin Earlzone, Diana Nyad, and dozens more to be announced. Register today for a day of insight, inspiration, and networking designed to help women advance in the workplace and beyond. The Pennsylvania Conference for Women will be held on November 7th at the Pennsylvania Convention and Exhibition Center. You'll enjoy inspiring keynote, practical skill building breakout sessions, and ample networking opportunity. From the Conference for Women, the largest series of professional women's conferences in the country. This annual event sells out fast, so secure your spot now. For details and ticket information, visit paconferenceforwomen.org.
Oxygen believes solar energy should be accessible and affordable for all. They are proud to support Word Radio and to be a part of their efforts to reduce environmental injustice that have impacted Black communities for far too long. Learn more at Oxygen.com. Oxygen.com.
What is dedication?
My daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your Black is beautiful. Your Black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. If there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops. My dad wasn't around, and I remember riding a bike and falling off and cutting myself, and me never just wanting to get back on it. People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike, and you didn't? I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
It's too black, which means it's too strong.
We're celebrating Black influence and Black excellence worldwide on the home of progressive Black Talk Media, WURD.
Let me tell you something, and don't you ever forget it. That success is nothing without someone you love to share it with.
You're listening to Love and Life with Carol Riddick on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
And we are back. Welcome back, family. Welcome back to Love and Life with Carol Riddick, right here on WURD. We're just talking tonight. It's an open forum. Actually, if you have a topic that you want to discuss, then share it and we will talk about it. But I expressed, I expressed that I felt badly and I feel badly about not having mentioned the MOVE bombing yesterday on its anniversary. The MOVE bombing originally took place on May 13th in 1985. And I was sharing that, just expressing that I feel badly that I did not recognize it. And family, I so appreciate your comments. Miss Julie, our Love Light shares that she heard some of the details from an investigative reporter who hollered to Ramona Africa on how to escape from the burning flames. Alfred shares, I was living in Chicago that year and I felt the shock and awe all the way here. I don't know if that was because I grew up in New York City and have visited Philadelphia many times, but it was traumatic to me. It was widespread trauma, really. Nick, you had something that you wanted to share. What was that?
Oh yeah, a caller had called in and informed me that the only two people to actually be arrested in the move bombing was, of course, Ramona Africa, and then a
Mhm.
developer afterwards who tried to come in and rebuild the houses, or the contractor, excuse me, and his name was Ernest A. Edwards Jr. I believe he was arrested in '88, so 3 years after it had taken place.
Wow. Mm. Just so much, so much, so much. My heart goes out to everybody that was involved, but to all the souls and spirits that were lost, particularly the babies. It was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot. Um, I've been reading so much. Okay, there's so much, so much, so much that I want to get your opinions on. To that point, last night, I don't know if you tuned in, if you were hanging out with us last night, but we had two very interesting conversations. The second of which was with Bob Woodson, and he shared with us about the sexual assaults taking place against Black and Brown women in the prison system. And here I am today reading, headlines, reading stories, and what do I read? I'm going to share with you. Dozens of probation officers in Los Angeles County were put on administrative leave over the last 5 months for several misconduct allegations, including excessive force, sexual abuse, and drug possession. The Los Angeles County Probation Department announced that 66 of its officers were put on leave since January 1st. According to a news release from yesterday, the probation officers were assigned to the department's adult and juvenile operations and will face internal affairs investigations. I had no idea until Mr. Woodson was sharing last night about what is taking place in our prison systems. I don't know if you were aware. There's so much we all acknowledge, and we're in agreement that there's so much going on, but I had no idea. I had no idea. So when I read this today, I said, "Oh, OMG." I wanted to share that with you, that this is taking place. Some other things that I wanted to share with you. Well, let me ask you, Nick, were you aware of that? Were you aware of what was taking place in our prison systems with our Black and brown women?
No, but mostly I think that's because it's underreported, and even if it does make it to the newspaper headlines or online headlines, people don't talk about it. I feel like people. I mean, maybe it's changing. I feel like people are more sympathetic to folks who are locked up now than they have been in the past. But people, they kind of just go, well, they shouldn't have done that, and they wouldn't even have to worry about being in prison now, you know. But it's
Mhm.
that minimalizes, excuse me, what people go through in there. Because at some point, a lot of those people are going to be coming back out, you know, and it
Mhm.
doesn't make a lot of sense to treat them like they're a bunch of dogs in the pound, you know. It's supposed to be an institution for oh man,
Reform.
yeah, reform. That's what it's supposed to do.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
I don't know. Whenever you do something wrong in this country and you go to prison, people just treat you like you got the mark of Cain on you. You know, it's peculiar. It's
I read
peculiar.
that today, and it just again, I felt the same way that I just felt badly that I had no idea. Um, so something else, I'm sharing all of these headlines that I'm coming across today, and please excuse me. I keep clearing my throat because you all know my allergies are attacking me as they are in this very moment. For those of you who love Red Lobster, now this story was of interest to me because my father loved Red Lobster, but Red Lobster suddenly closed 87 locations across the United States. 87. They shared, and I'm paraphrasing, that their endless shrimp deal didn't fare well for them. I honestly didn't know that Red Lobster was still open. I didn't know that. As my father used to love Red Lobster. So for those of you family members, for those of you who love Red Lobster, I just want you to know they're closing a lot of them. Another story that I want to share with you. Philadelphia Parking Authority has started ticketing cars that block sidewalks. Now, this conversation I heard a few times today, actually, because people were upset. But the storyline reads the Philadelphia Parking Authority will start ticketing cars that block sidewalks or ADA accessible curbs across the city. It started yesterday, actually, as part of an enhanced enforcement campaign first announced earlier this year. So just be aware, just be aware, just be aware, just be aware. And now, Nick, you probably are aware of this, but did you read about or hear about the protests in Center City today? Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't. I didn't actually get to go downtown. I went everywhere around the city except for downtown. What are they protesting?
Well, it reads Center City was the scene of another Philadelphia protest today as 350 demonstrators gathered to call for a permanent ceasefire in Gaza. Hundreds of Jews, rabbis, faith leaders, and allies blocked the streets in front of the Israel bond sales demanding divestment from Israel, calling for institutions and individuals to stop investing in the Israeli military's genocidal war in Gaza through the direct financial support of Israel bonds. This was said by a Jewish Voice for Peace. And I had no idea that this took place today. 350 demonstrators. You know, I'm seeing a lot more protests throughout the country. I've heard of more on the college campuses, quite honestly, than I have, in the midst of the cities themselves. But I see more and more protests are coming about. And family, now I've got a lot to share. I told you there's a lot. I wanted to share a lot with you today. A lot, a lot, a lot. Now, we have conversations sometimes about well, the schools and all kinds of things. There are a few stories that I want to share with you, different subject matters, but all involving what's taking place in our schools. This storyline: congratulations seem to be in order for roughly 1,500 undergraduate applicants to Georgia State University. Over 1,000 applicants received a welcome email for the 2024-25 school year before discovering their new status was the result of an error by the school's admissions office. The email to the prospective students was not an official acceptance letter. It was one of several communications sent to accepted students after they are admitted. So now, in this case, I'm going to ask you, what do you think they should do? Do you think they should automatically be admitted because of this mistake that was made? What do you think? What do you think, Nick?
Well, I think that it's strange that something like that can happen, but technology is technology is infallible, of course. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not sure which is the best way to go about this, because now people can't tell if they have actually gotten in and which one is bogus. So I guess the school is, and when I say the school, I mean somebody at the school, an individual or a group of individuals are going to have to reach out and call the people who were actually admitted, or maybe even call the people who weren't and let them know, hey, look, there was a mistake. Either you got in or you didn't. But there needs to be some kind of human touch here so that they're not having this issue again. I mean, I'm not sure what to think if I got something in the mail, or if I got an email saying that I was accepted into a school I wanted to go to, and they said, "Oh, never mind. Sorry, that was our bad."
That was a mistake.
That was a mistake. That's such a. It's like, what?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. You celebrate and everything, and then they come back to you and say, "Oh, no, that was sent to you in error. We don't even know how it happened." But no, so what now? What now? And the thing about it is that I've read this story 3 times so far, and in every one of the articles, and in none, I should say, and in none of the articles does it read what the institution has decided to do to rectify the situation. So, what do you think, family? What do you think they should do? Should they accept these applicants? Should they automatically receive acceptance because of this? Because of this mistake? I'm going to tell you something. I would be pissed especially if it was a university that I, had been wanting to attend. I was looking forward to attend. You send me my acceptance letter. I'm happy and I'm in a celebratory mood, and then you reach back out to me and say, "Oh no, that was just a mistake." What? Our love light, Miss Rosalind shares, they probably don't want the Black children in their own schools anyway. Yes, they should have met them in school. I'm not sure what the remainder of that reads. I'm not sure but if you could send another response, because I couldn't read the end of that message clearly. Hi there, Lance. Thank you for checking in. Alfred shares, this is a mistake that should have some kind of ramifications. Suppose a student chose that school and declined other acceptances. Exactly. I'm in agreement with that. I don't know. How they're going to rectify this, but they should. Our love light, Miss Lily, shares the college should make an exception and allow the students to attend. I believe so as well. Denara, my cousin, hi cousin, she shares that happened to me back in 99 with the University of Science. Wait a minute. So what did they do? I don't even know, cuz. What did they do? I do want to share a happy story though. There is a teenager from Chicago who walked in her graduation ceremony this month after earning her doctoral degree at the age of 17. Dorothy Jean Tillman II told Good Morning America that she was homeschooled in her early years before entering college at the age of 10. In 2020, she said she earned a Master of Science degree, and then 1 year later, at age 15, was accepted into the Doctorate of Behavioral Health Management program at Arizona State University. So congratulations to her. Kudos to her, her family. I couldn't wait to share that with you all. It was just an amazing story. It made me so happy. So I'm hoping it makes you happy too. Our babies are out here doing some big things. I want to know what you think and how you feel about this. Bucks County School District approves separate bathrooms for transgender non-binary students. The article reads, after a heated meeting with the community on Monday night, last night that is, the board of the Penridge School District has voted to approve a policy that will provide students, no matter their gender identity, with bathrooms that can accommodate them. With a vote of 5-4, the board ruled to reverse a policy that required students to use the bathroom of their biological sex. And starting in August, the school district will provide separate bathrooms for students and faculty use depending on gender identity. I thought that was really interesting. I want to know what you think and how you feel about that. It reads that the school district in August will provide separate bathrooms and faculty for students and faculty, depending on their gender. The bathrooms will be labeled as faculty use, bathrooms for biological males, bathrooms for biological females, bathrooms for those who identify as male, as well as bathrooms for those who identify as female. There will also be single use bathrooms that can be used by students no matter how they identify. What do you think, family? What do you think about that? I'm curious to know. Listen, you can feel free to give us a call. 215-634-8065, or you can even call toll free at 1-866-361-0900. You know I am welcoming your comments on our socials as well. I want to know what you think and how you feel. I don't know. Nick, you know I'm coming to you after this commercial break. So be ready. Family, stay with us because we will be right back.
June is Black Music Month, and this year, the WURD Message in the Music series presents Trans-Afro Express, the global impact of African, Caribbean, and African American music. Join us on Friday, June 14th from 6 p.m. until 11 p.m. at World Cafe Live, 3025 Walnut Street. This event features a panel discussion, live performances, and the flyest Afrobeat, reggae, hip-hop, and R&B dance party in Philly. If you love to dance and you want to learn more about the global impact of our music, then join us Friday, June 14th from 6 p.m. until 11 p.m. at World Cafe Live. Admission is $20 in advance, $25 at the door. Get your tickets now at wordradio.com. This Black Music Month event is in partnership with Fun Times Magazine and brought to you by the Pennsylvania Lottery, Comcast, Keystone First, and Pico.
Word Radio Digital Tip of the Month is brought to you by Comcast.
You may have recently gotten a distressing call. Someone that sounds exactly like one of your close family members has some type of emergency and needs money. Or the person on the other end of the phone claims to have kidnapped your family member and is demanding money. Either way, the call sounds legitimate and you are very concerned. Before you panic, understand that these types of calls are very likely AI generated. The goal is to get access to your bank account or credit card information in order to commit fraud. One easy thing you can do to protect yourself is to have a secret code word among your family members. If the person who called you can't tell you the word, you know they're not legit. Another thing you should do is report the phone number to the Federal Trade Commission at reportfraud.ftc.gov. You can enter the details of the scam on the website so that it can be investigated, and hopefully the scammers aren't able to harm anyone else. It takes all of us to be vigilant and pay attention when something doesn't sound right, but also to do our part to try to stop scams by reporting them. Stay tuned to WURD for more tips and stay connected with us at wordradio.com.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. I came out in the 11th grade. Nobody was embracing you. The kids were cruel. It was very difficult to be gay. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma. The hard part was determining that I was going to do it, but I definitely didn't do it alone.
At age 30, with the help of her mentor, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
I have a mentor, Maria. She convinced me to continue my education and to finish what I started to get my diploma. Just never judges. She's a true role model. If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, go get it. You can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
We're celebrating Black influence and Black excellence worldwide on the home of progressive Black talk media, WURD.
You're listening to Love and Life with Carol Riddick on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Hey there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life with Carol Riddick right here on WURD. We are talking about everything in this hour. Before the commercial break, I was asking you your opinion on a story that I shared. The story reads that after a heated meeting with the community last night, the board of the Penridge School District has voted to approve a policy that will provide students, no matter their gender identity, with bathrooms that can accommodate them. With a vote of 5-4, the board ruled to reverse a policy that required students to use the bathroom of their biological sex. So starting in August, the school district will provide separate bathrooms for students and faculty depending on gender identity. The bathrooms will be labeled as faculty use, bathrooms for biological males, bathrooms for biological females, bathrooms for those who identify as male, as well as bathrooms for those who identify as females. There will also be single-use bathrooms that can be used by students no matter how they identify. What do you think and how do you feel about that? I'm going to our socials. I see Eric is commenting on the conversation we started earlier about the MOVE bombing in 1985 in Philadelphia. He shares, when I reflect back to the way the move altercation was handled. I wonder why Mayor Wilson Goode let it evolve to such a standoff and end in such a horrific way. And yet the mayors that followed would not use half that force to repair Kensington and eradicate drugs, theft, prostitution, and homelessness. That's a very interesting question. That's a very good question. I do want to share that Alfred is commenting on the story that I shared about the young lady who graduated, who completed her doctoral degree at 17. He shares that her grandmother was an exceptional city councilwoman. I love that. I love that. And my cousin shares, she responded to the question I asked her about the university where she had the same situation as those 1,500 Georgia State University applicants. She shared that they gave her her syllabus and her room assignment 2 days later and told her that the school was overcrowded. Oh, you've got to be. So, in response to the question that I just asked about the separate bathrooms for transgender and non-binary students, Alfred shares that policy about the bathroom is just lawsuits in the making. I don't doubt that it is. I really don't doubt that it is. Eric shares, please know that I do want to give praise and thanks to our current mayor, Sherelle Parker, and our Philadelphia Police Department for their recent action and attempt to make some sort of change in the Kensington area. Yes, they sure did. They sure did. I was going to share that story. They sure did. As I was sharing with you that I read a few stories about schools, Mayor Parker has another initiative. This reads, summer break is the ultimate reward for so many students. But what if those weeks of vacation were no longer an option? The Philadelphia School District is partnering with Mayor Sherelle Parker to develop a plan that could completely alter the traditional school calendar for city schools. So the plan is to test year-round school for some students. What do you think about that? What do you think about that? And on another side of that conversation, in Indiana, there was a school that became, it reads that Indiana school becomes the first in the state to move to a 4-day school week. I thought that was really interesting, given how our babies are testing these days. But this storyline reads, a suburban Indianapolis school has become the first in the state to announce plans to move to a 4-day school week. The Lafayette School Corporation announced that the Board of Trustees voted to approve a 4-day week for Vinton Elementary beginning in the 2024-25 school year. We're pleased to offer learning options that meet all students and families' needs. What do you think about that, offering a 4-day school week? Now, this is in Indianapolis, so this is not here in Philadelphia, but I'm curious to know what you think. I'm challenged with that because of the way our babies are testing, the way our babies have been testing, especially and particularly now that we're living in this COVID compromised existence. We're still trying to play catch up, if you will. And because of the way our system is set up, at one point in time, I may have been agreeable to that, but right now, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that's a good idea. But I'm curious to know what you think, and how you feel. Nick, you know I'm coming to you. I was coming to you about the question about the assignment of the bathrooms. I'm also challenged with that. Let me start by saying I don't know a lot about identifying and the different genders, and I don't want to insult anyone. I never want to insult anyone, but I know so little. I know so little about identifying gender identity and fluidity. I actually don't know anything. Let me just be honest. But this just seems like a lot. The assignments for the bathrooms, it just feels to me like there's a lot. That's a lot. It's a lot. I want to know what you think and how you feel, though, I want to know. I want to know. Alfred shares that's a bad decision, in my opinion. A 4-day school week. That decision is made by supposedly intelligent adults. No, no. No, what do you think? What do you think, family? Let me know. You know, I'm always encouraging to call me because I like talking to you, but also because I want to know how you think and what you feel. And know that you can also call and leave your opinion with Nick, and he'll share it with the rest of us. You don't even have to be heard on the air if that's your choice, if that's your preference. But the number to dial is 215-634-8065, or you can call us toll free at 1-866-361-0900. And you know I'm still checking the socials because I want to know what you think and how you feel. Kevin is joining us, DJ Kev Williams. Hi there, Love Light. He shares no 4-day school days. No. Kids don't know enough. Some kids can't read a clock correctly. That is so true. They should be in school all year round with 3 weeks off. Kev, if I might, I'm in agreement with you. I am in agreement with you. I'm in agreement. I just feel like I'm in agreement. Our Love Light Miss Lily shares, I am not in agreement with the year-long school concept. In my most humble opinion, the children and the faculty need a few weeks off in order to decompress and reset. You know, I understand your point of view, where you're coming from, but our babies, to Kev's point, there are some of our babies who are unable to read a clock correctly. Um, there are I have stories, just stories of my own that I could share. I really do believe they need more time. They need more time in school. I do. So what do you think about this? Now that we're talking about identity and we're talking about, well, identity is conversation. One of the stories I shared. Boy Scouts of America is changing their name to be more inclusive. The Boy Scouts of America is changing its name for the first time in its 114-year history and will become Scouting America. It's a significant shift as the organization emerges from bankruptcy following a flood of sexual abuse claims and seeks to focus on inclusion. The organization, steeped in tradition, has made seismic changes after decades of turmoil, from finally allowing gay youth to welcoming girls throughout its ranks. With an eye on increasing flagging membership numbers, the Irving, Texas based organization announced the name change at its annual meeting. What do you think about that? So, the Boy Scouts of America will no longer be the Boy Scouts of America. It will be called Scouting America. Scouting America. I see that you're commenting, Herb. Hi there, Herb. Our love light. He shares gender ID bathrooms. Who's paying for those extra bathrooms? School modifications are paid for by the taxpayers. Well, there you have it. So, there you have it. There you have it. Simply put, Herb, all of the bathrooms. So that's, I didn't count the bathrooms, the names of the bathrooms that I was sharing, but that's a good question. Alfred shares, changing the names does not change sexual abuse. I am in agreement with that. Our love light Rosalind shares, that's just another way of abusing children without the name. It's a lot. 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 And keeping in theme with this conversation, Target is cutting back on the number of its stores that will carry Pride Month related merchandise in June, a decision that comes after the retail chain last year faced backlash and threats over some of the products. Minneapolis-based Target said in a statement that its Pride merchandise will be available next month in select stores based on historical sales performance. Oh, but that was interesting. Very interesting. Malcolm shares, wow, I don't know what to think because I was a Cub Scout and a Boy Scout. I was a Girl Scout. I know so much has changed. So much has changed. We talk about it every day. We talk about how much the world is ever changing and how much things are changing in this world in which we live. But it's a lot. It's a lot. Family, it's time for us to take a commercial break. I know I've given you a lot to chew on. I know I have. But imagine I was reading these storylines and I said, what? I kept saying, huh? What? Wait a minute. I kept saying that. I kept saying that. And I said, okay, I want to talk about these things with the family. I want to talk. I want to talk. So we're going to commercial break, but you are always invited to the conversation. So feel free to call or to continue to comment, but stay with us because we're coming right back.
It's the WURD Hot 60. Hot 60. Here's the hottest 60 seconds you missed on Reality Check.
We have someone who has contributed so much to the culture and to the world of acting, and he's so special, he only goes by one name. Introducing Leon. You've played so many iconic roles, and everybody, I think, has their favorite. Is there one that you particularly like or that you felt was such a stretch for you that you remember it more than others? And what's the one that you're recognized for the most?
Wow. Okay. That's a loaded question right there. The role that I like the most is the one that you like the most. I don't watch my movies.
Okay.
So whatever one you like, that's the one I like. It's like asking somebody, which one of your kids you like the most.
Right. And that's your hottest 60 seconds from Reality Check on WURD Progressive. Black Talk Media.
Summers in New Jersey were made to wow you. From sun and wows to fun and wows, chillin' wows to thrillin' wows. So come see what your wow's gonna be. New Jersey, it's one summer wow after another after another. Find your wow at visitnj.org. New Jersey, little state, lot of wow.
When I found out I had postpartum depression, I realized caring for my son starts with caring for me.
Mental health care is working for Simone. See what it can do for you at mentalhealthcareworks.org. A message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
Tune into Word Radio this Thursday at 10 a.m. for City Council Live, hosted by Ernest Owens. Join conversations that matter to your community with your local City Council members.
WURD is happy to provide our listeners with the opportunity to participate in contests and win prizes. This is a reminder of our contest rules. All participants must be 18 years of age or older, depending on the contest. Persons may win only one prize from the radio station per contest for every 30-day period. Some contests might also specify one winner per household or company. Prizes must be claimed within 14 days or by 12 noon the day before the event, whichever is sooner, and must be accepted as is or forfeited. The radio station employees and their immediate relatives, sponsor employees and their immediate relatives, live remote sponsor employees and their immediate relatives, and any other media employees are ineligible to win the prize. Thank you for participating and for listening to WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We are the home of Progressive Black Talk Media. This is WURD 900 AM and 96.1 FM, Philadelphia. Streaming online on wordradio.com and the Word Radio app.
You're listening to Love and Life with Carol Riddick on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Well, hey there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life with Carol Riddick right here on WURD, progressive Black Talk Media on air and online at wordradio.com. Welcome to the top of the second hour. Before we move forward into this segment, because you know I'm excited, we have Chris Murray. You know how excited I get when Chris comes. I do want to share something with you. I didn't want to leave you with there was just so much I shared in that last hour. I did want to share one thing with you. I was sharing with Mr. Woodson last night about something else I had read. There were men that gathered in what was called Operation Hug. I'm not sure if you were familiar, but this took place last month. And there was an article that read, a Philadelphia nonprofit is working to reduce gun violence across the city. Operation Hug the Block is trying to curtail what it calls opportunities for violence in Philly. It read on this particular night, it was the first night for Hug the Block patrols in Germantown, where they honored a 16-year-old shooting victim. One of the men stated, he said, we felt like we probably knew him or his family, and we thought it was important to give back more than just a teddy bear or candles. That was a quote from Justin Harris, who is of Hug the Block. These men, they took to the streets because they shared that they're tired of kids killing each other. It felt so good to read that. I just wanted to make you aware, in case you were not aware, that is taking place in our city. That took place in our city, and that there are some efforts being made. There are some individuals standing up. There's some human beings. There's some men standing up in our city trying to help our babies. And there may be others. There may be other organizations or other things taking place. And when I become aware of them, I will share that with you too, because I will be more than happy to do so. But I read that, and it was a hug to my heart just to know that they're out there for our babies. So I wanted to share that with you too. I just didn't want to give you all of this darkness. All right. So without further ado, I just still haven't gotten this. I haven't gotten this music together, but I'm working on it. I'm working on it. For those of you who are unaware, he is the one. He is the only. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He's our guru of sports. Okay. And he comes to speak with us on Tuesdays about all things sports. He's a radio show host, or I should say a radio personality, an on-air personality. He's a journalist. He's a college professor with more than 30 years of experience. And he comes to talk with us. I invite you to the conversation with the one and the only, Chris Murray. Hey there, Chris. Why can't we see you? Why don't I see you? Why don't I see you? There you are. No, I don't hear you. I don't hear you. I'm so excited to see you, and I don't hear you. Family, we are working out this kink. We're working out this kink. Okay, how about we do this, Chris? How about this? There we go. There we go. We're going to remove. There we go. And then we're going to do that. We're going to try that again. No, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. How about you? Can you log off and come back in? What, can you try that? Can you do that? Oh, now you're muted. No, now you're muted. There we are. There we are. So Chris he's going to give it one more try. He's going to try logging back in, and we're going to see if we can't get him into the room this go round. But thank you, family, for obliging as always. You know, I start talking about these stories that I read. Like I said, there's so much going on, so much going on. But I so appreciate you for accommodating me, for obliging me, and for having these conversations with me. I do. I appreciate you for that. All right, Chris, we got to get the drum roll in his way. He said he wanted theme music. Didn't he say that, Nick? Didn't he say he wanted? What song did he say? He said he wanted
something about theme music.
Yeah, he said he wanted. He said he wanted. Chris, where are you? I can't hear you. Oh, you know what, Nick? It looks like something is happening here, because there's something crossed with the station and with Chris's entry when he comes into the room. You are muted again. All right, so family, for those of you who have just joined us, yeah, this is just a typical Tuesday. There he is. There he
Okay, can you hear
is.
me? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
All right. Okay. Good.
There
Now
he,
this is
there
weird.
he, there. Yes, there you are though. There,
Okay, there I am. Okay, so y'all
there
can
you
hear,
are.
you can see and hear me, right?
Yes, we can. We can see and hear
Somewhere,
you.
I was somewhere in the cyber universe, and I don't know what that's all about. I was just, like Star Trek and stuff, man. How you doing today, Carol?
I will not complain. I will not complain. Happy to have you as always. Malcolm said, "We got you now." Ms. Rosalind said, "Yep, we can see you. We can see you now." So we're
Okay.
happy to have you. Nasir said, "Uh-oh." He wants me to give you the Sixers theme song.
10, 9, 8, 70s, here they come. Everybody. Philadelphia 76ers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Sixers. 10, 9, 8, 76ers. Come on, sing with me, y'all. I can't
Oh my goodness. Oh,
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So how are you on this good fair day? How are you?
Well, I've been very busy. I've had little sleep, but this I have like 2 weeks of school left. This week and next week, and then
Mhm.
I get to rest for a minute. I may be teaching summer school. I probably will be teaching summer school, and but that'll be a lot better than right now because I'll be able to do some things around here and
Okay.
more. I'm gonna probably cover some Phillies and cover some other events. I got some ideas for stories and stuff out here, so I'm just trying to get myself ready for an action-packed summer, and I'm gonna be out here trying to sell my book in various places. So
I know that's
I'm ready to roll.
So, no Barcelona yet? No, you're not going to Spain yet?
No Spain and all this other stuff. I need to
Okay.
go to Spain. I would love to go to Paris for the Olympics, cover boxing and
Oh,
track.
oh my goodness. I love Paris. Well, Spain. All right.
Paris is that city.
It
Paris strikes me.
is.
I see your excitement. I see the excitement. You say when I mentioned the
I
term Paris.
I
Paris
love
is just
Paris.
like
I love Paris.
mm.
I do. I do. Look, wait, and then there was silence. Did we both just drift?
Yeah. I gotta. I gotta take the wife there. I gotta take her to
Wait,
Paris.
you have not taken Denise to Paris?
No, I haven't. I'm in the media business. I don't get paid.
Chris, I listen. That sounds like a wonderful anniversary gift.
I'm going to take her there. I like to do a whole tour of Europe. I like to get on the train
Yes.
and just go around because Europe is. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying the Europeans don't have their share of colonialism, racism, but I don't know. Black people tell me to go to Europe, and they kind of feel, I guess, I don't know, a little bit free of having to deal with America. And I'm not saying the Europeans are perfect. This is what people have told me over the years. I don't know if that's true or not, but a lot of people tell me that when they get outside the United States, there's a different perception of them worldwide as a Black person as it is in the United States. I've heard that from more than a few people and whatnot. So a lot of people tend to feel that there's something that maybe it's something about America. And I'm not saying those countries don't have their issues with people who are foreign or who don't look like them, because they do. But at the same time, I've heard a lot of Black people say that when they go to Europe, it's a whole different vibe and whatnot. And most say they don't feel that sort of racial thing and racial animus that they get here in the United States. That's what a lot of people.
Yeah, well, there's truth to that. There's truth to that. I mean, I think this sounds like a wonderful anniversary trip, Chris.
Oh yeah. Oh, no doubt. No doubt. I mean, you know, on a whole lot of levels that I have to tell you about off camera. But you know, like I said, we got married in the in the whole tumult and shouting of the pandemic. We got married at Mother Bethel, and congratulations to Reverend Tyler. They put in a new window today, from what I understand, and yeah, and so. But the problem is, because it was a pandemic, we couldn't really go on the honey. We didn't have our reception until about maybe 6 months, maybe 6 or 7 months later, and because it was a pandemic, and and it was cool when we had the reception. It was really fun, and so but the next step is the honeymoon, because both of us work a lot. We work. And it's just, but that's something I'm looking forward to doing, man, because I need to get out of the United States for a whole lot of reasons, And
it's only for a short period of time, right? I think you two
yeah,
deserve it. You deserve it.
Yeah, thank you. And I've always had this sort of international feel. I mean, I've lived in a lot of cities, and I've been around the country, and my next thing is to see Europe. I want to go to Africa. I want to go to the motherland. I want to go to Ghana and the whole like Senegal, Gambia, where I would say a lot of our ancestors came through the Middle Passage. I mean the gate of no return and whatnot. And so it was, because one of the most moving scenes that I ever saw on television was Roots 2, the next generations, and that last episode where and when I saw it, I was kind of crying, because it was like when Alex Haley, played by James Earl Jones, found out, they told us to Kunta Kinte, Kunta Kinte and his wife Binta, they had a son, who went out to find a drum and was never seen again. And he says, and that was a scene where he says, "I found you, you old African, I found you." And then the griot stopped the whole thing and said, praise be God, or something like that. Our brother has returned home. I think I kind of lost it when I saw that part, because I think that's something that we as Black people in America, I mean, we all dream of that time when if we could somehow find out who we're directly descended from and all that. So that was something. So, but on the sports side, since I talking sports, today was we got the schedule. Of course, the Eagles are headed to Sao Paulo. I mean, to Brazil, a place which is probably one of the places that is probably banned for married men. Speaking of that, but the Eagles, Eagles have basically added, they're coming in to see with two new coordinators. They got Saquon Barkley. They got a couple of outstanding rookie cornerbacks in Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. And, you basically, it's going to be really, the whole NFL schedule came out. Of course, the big opening game night on September 5th, which means that on that particular date, I don't know if anybody's going to send me to Brazil to cover the game and whatnot, but 90 miles down the road, the Chiefs and the Ravens. Well, no, they're going to be playing in Kansas City. That's going to be the big headliner opener. Is going to be the Chiefs and the Ravens. And, the Ravens are looking to come back and win that game after losing the championship game. But the Eagles, like I said again, the Eagles are going to, I think they're going to have a good schedule. Well, actually, that's right. They hadn't released the full schedule because, like I said, they talked about week 1. And so, the Eagles are going to be, in Brazil playing football, and and that's going to be fun. I wonder how many people, and so it's going to be in Corinthians Arena. That is an epic name for a stadium in Sao Paulo. The Corinthians. I think of Homer. I think of reading the Iliad in high school and all that, and on college. I actually read the Iliad in college, and that that in that I like that in Corinthian Stadium, like the gods watch the football game.
I hear you.
Yes, that is true.
You are into it.
I mean, it's like, let us join the Ethiopian gods and watch the brothers play football. That's,
I love it. Well, first of all, I'm enjoying your enthusiasm about it more so. I do want to share. Alfred asked, who are the Eagles opening against? It's Green Bay. Green Bay
Packers against a good quarterback in Jordan Love. I thought he played great in the playoffs. He knocked off the Cowboys in that game, and I mean they beat the brakes off the Cowboys in that game. Yeah. And then they came back, should have beat San Francisco. They kind of let down. They're a young football team, and they kind of let down the second half. So from that standpoint, it's going to be basically a situation where it's going to be a tough game. It won't be an easy game for the Eagles. I don't know how they're going to react. I don't know how Kellen Moore is going to help Jalen Hurts, and they got a bunch of new guys on the team. Jason Kelsey is not back, so they're going to be young at the center position, and they got a new defense. They got some rookies, some fresh new blood. Hopefully they'll make this Eagles team a lot better than they were last year. And I think, like I said, they signed AJ Brown back. They got Devonta Smith. They got all these guys coming back to the team, and so I think they're going to do great. And I think it's going to be an interesting season, and it's good to see. Like I said, they just released part of the schedule, and like I said, they're going to announce the full schedule on the NFL Network. So you're going on tomorrow. So. But so everybody's all geeked. Here it is. It's May. We're not that far from mini camps. We're not that far. Like we're 2 months away from training camp. 2 months away. June, in July, and in June we're gonna be going through mini camps and all that, and everybody's gonna be working on their game, and the coaches and the players will talk a lot and say nothing about what's going on and whatnot, because that's what we expect every year. And there's going to be a couple of stories of guys, who are trying to make the team, and some of the rookie free agents they brought in. So we, and meanwhile, the Philadelphia Phillies are the first team to win 30 games this year in Major League Baseball. So it's going to be. I'm looking forward to summer. I'm always looking forward to the summer. The WNBA season starts tonight.
Yes, it does.
It starts tonight, and I think they're going to get more people watching it. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to watch because I gotta have something to do while I'm grading papers and all that. I gotta have some noise. I gotta have some noise in the room and all this other stuff. And one of the games just started. New York Liberty. They're down actually 58-51 to the Washington Mystics, and the Indiana Fever is down to the Connecticut Sun 35-24. So we'll see, and we'll see what's happening. I know they're on ESPN, so one of these networks, and so it's going to be good. It's going to be interesting to see the season. And oddly enough, a lot of people. Like there was an article that I read, they were comparing the WNBA and the NBA, and both in their 30th seasons. And the 30th season, I think, was right around the time that I think that the NBA was trying to revamp itself and reinvent itself. And along comes a guy from Michigan State, and along comes a black guy from Michigan State and a white guy from Indiana State. And they basically, by themselves, along with people like Michael Jordan, Isaiah Thomas, Charles Barkley, and all those guys, they revitalized the league. And to me, if I had to look back on the time with the NBA, started to get its act together. It was really, in my opinion, I want to see if everybody agrees or disagrees with me. I mean, I started watching the NBA again because after they took my beloved Baltimore Bullets and moved them to Washington, it was hard for me to kind of keep up with the little games. But when the Philadelphia 76ers brought Julius Irving to the Sixers, and I was just watching him, watching this guy jump through the air, do all these dunks and all this other stuff. I mean, I was like, I said, that's my new team in the NBA. I said the Sixers are my new team because they got they have the doctor. And then you had the doctor, and then Magic and Bird came along, and then then after that Jordan and Pat Ewing and all these guys, and it made the NBA. It basically NBA supplanted Major League Baseball.
It was fun. It was so entertaining. It was exciting then. For me, it was exciting then. Chris, it's time to take a moment. We get into these conversations and then I forget all about the clock. Family, you already know that you are always invited to the conversation. So the phone lines are still open and feel free to continue to comment on our socials. I see some of those comments. We're going to read them when we come back from this commercial break. So stay with us because we are coming right back.
Only on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Is your child stuck in a school that doesn't meet their needs? What if you had $10,000 to send them to the school of your choice? It's possible. Lawmakers are considering a program to offer kids a free scholarship to better, safer schools. If enacted, your children could each qualify for up to $10,000. But lawmakers must hear that parents like you need these scholarships. Visit LifelineScholarships.com to learn more and secure your child's future. Paid for by Commonwealth Foundation.
In Philly, everyone's reading this year's One Book, One Philadelphia selection, True Biz by Sarah Novich. And right now, the Free Library of Philadelphia is hosting free events, discussions, and creative workshops, all inspired by True Biz, its themes, and the history and culture of our deaf community. On May 22nd, join us for a celebration with author Sarah Novich and poet and National Book Award finalist Ilya Kaminsky. Details, book club kits, and American Sign Language resources at freelibrary.org/onebook.
Sometimes it seems the crises just keep coming for children. COVID, war, drought, and famine. They can seem downright relentless. But you know what? So can our response. When helping children unites us, we are a force to be reckoned with. Where there is help, there is hope. It's why UNICEF won't stop, ever. Learn more at unicefusa.org/we won't stop.
No, what's the word, boy? What's the word? What's the word?
WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Let me tell you something, and don't you ever forget it. Success is nothing without someone you love to share it with.
You're listening to Love and Life with Carol Riddick on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Well, hey there, family. We are back. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life with Carol Riddick right here on WURD. I should say, well, you're tuned in to Love and Life right now with Carol Riddick and Chris Murray right here on WURD. We're talking all things sports because that's what we do on Tuesdays in the second hour. And we've been talking about our teams and how excited we are Family, I did share that. I see you commenting. I see you. Alfred shares Dr. J. Love Light. Miss Rosalind shares 76ers. Alfred follows his comment with, I agree, Chris. That was when the NBA went on that upward trajectory. When he was talking, when you were talking about all of the greats, all of the greats. And Malcolm shares about the Phillies. Those bats are hot. He shares for now. He shares for now.
I mean, and the thing about it, those guys are just hitting. They're hitting the ball. See, and it's starting to get and that they're hitting the ball now is significant because it's still kind of cool outside. It's still, I don't know, balls carrying, but what happens when it gets like 85, 90 degrees and balls are flying out of the park? Aaron Nola's been hot. Ranger Suarez is really, kid from Venezuela, has really been hot. And I think that this team can win a World Series. The only caveat I'd have, if the Phillies, I'm going to be kind of, especially my wife, because she's a huge Phillies fan, she's going to be worried if the Phillies get the best record in the league come October in the playoffs. Because in baseball nowadays, having the best record in the league or best record, best record in the league or best record between both leagues has been kind of a curse, because last year the Braves, everybody thought the Atlanta Braves were going to run away with it, and the Phillies got them in the playoffs.
That's true. That's so true.
They got them again, and not only did the Phillies get them in the playoffs, me and a couple of other reporters got doused with so much champagne. When I was in the locker room, right, and I'm in there interviewing players. The guy who was like the guy who was I forgot the guy's name. I think it was Diego, who was the team interpreter last year. He's not this year. He just said, "Come on in, man. Take the hat off." And I got hit with champagne. I got hit with champagne. We were in that locker last year, and
that sounds like fun.
It's always fun to see your team win. It's always fun to see, and that's not the first time I've been hit with champagne and all that other stuff. And I still, I was there in 2008, and I had to wear a skull cap. Because it got so cold. It got so cold that because they had to play Game 5 in 2 days.
We need pictures. We need pictures of you in a skull cap. Okay, we need. That's what we
got
need.
One. I'll send you one personally. It's a picture of me interviewing Ryan Howard. And
oh wow!
Yeah, I was in the locker room interviewing Ryan Howard along with a bunch of other reporters, and it was just I was glad they kind of caught that, because I think I'm going to put together. I always put this together around my birthday, so I'm going to go on Facebook and do like a photo dump of all the sporting events and stuff that I've covered over the years, and sporting things of that nature. So I'm gonna
see this. Wait, I'm sorry to have interjected, but you're gonna make sure, especially if it's a video, because we want to play the reel too. We want to play it here.
I think I'll do a reel. I'll figure out how to do it on TikTok or one of these real stuff. And no, I'm not gonna dance. I'm not gonna go and because I'm happy. I'm not gonna do any of that stuff.
Ron is looking for that dance. Listen, I want to know. I was reading, and first of all, congratulations to Serena. But I was reading that Serena Williams will become the 4th woman to host the ESPYs in July. Did you read that?
I have not heard that, but congrats to her. Serena, to me, is one of the greatest athletes, and I'm talking about male or female, ever in this country. She's one of the great. I'm not gonna go through the whole. Well, she's the greatest woman. I mean, she's one of the greatest athletes that we have seen in this country, and the way she dominated tennis. And Richard Williams, some people have come up to me and said that Richard Williams ought to be in the Tennis Hall of Fame. I'm going to have my good friend down in Florida, who's a tennis writer named Melissa Lawrence Corbett. She wrote the book on Serena Williams, and the thing is that she, she basically said that perhaps Richard Williams ought to be in the Hall of Fame for how he guided and conducted the careers with Venus and Serena Williams. And if Serena Williams is one of the great athletes of all time, Venus, her sister, is not that far away from her. But everybody, and Richard Williams said this, everybody said that eventually Serena was going to be better than both of them. She's going to be better just because, she just had that ability, and she had that fast serve, her and Venus. And she was, that she's been given to host, that's been, to host the ESPYs. She is dynamic on and off the court, and like one of the great players that have ever played. I think she's the greatest of all time. Whatever people want to say about the Grand Slams and all that, to me, she is, dare I say, the Michael Jordan of that sport. She's the greatest of all time, and that she is doing that. I'm looking forward to watching the rise of Coco Gauff this year, and some other, black women tennis players, black male tennis players that are, that are in the sport. It's going to be interesting to see, and it's good to see that one of the things that Serena and Venus did is that I think they went out and, if you compare Serena and Venus to, say, Tiger Woods, Tiger Woods really didn't bring a whole lot of black people to the game of golf in the way that Venus and Serena did for tennis. Now you got a lot of young up and coming black tennis players coming up in that sport. And this could be a breakout year for Coco Gauff. She won the US Open a couple of years ago, and she really, she has really been that great of a player. I would love to see her win at Wimbledon or the French Open. So, it's to me, Serena is like the greatest. There's no argument, in my opinion. She is one of the greatest athletes of the 21st century. If he's not one, she is one of the great of this. I can go back to the 20th century, because it's a funny thing. I remember when ESPN was doing sports of the 20th century, and they mentioned Jackie Jordan Kersey, and it was all these sports writers. I think it was a guy named John Feinstein, who had written all these books about basketball, Bobby Knight and all that. And he said he didn't particularly understand why. Oh, I never saw her and this, that, and the other. I was like, Jackie Jordan Kersey was one of the all-time great track people. And I'm glad that that when you talk about great athletes, we don't have to put we can say she's one of the greatest women athletes, but I like to say that in terms of athletics in general and sport in general, Serena Williams and I'll throw Venus in there. They're among the best athletes of all time, regardless of gender.
I was reading today, and that question was posed. Well, two questions were posed, actually. One was, who do you believe to be, who are some of the greatest athletes you believe to be? And the other question, well, actually, it was about boxing. I have a question for you about boxing in a minute, but I do want to share our love light, Ms. Rosalind. She shares, Chris, I agree with you. Serena Williams is one of the greatest athletes I have ever seen in the 21st century. She shares that she saw the movie with Will Smith and a few other actors, and it was phenomenal. They did not settle for less, and she has come a long way. I'm in agreement with everything the both of you said. She's an extraordinary athlete, and she's, the woman that she's come to be. She's a phenomenal woman. She truly is. She truly is. So I think this is fitting. I think this is like, it feels like for her to host the ESPYs, it just feels natural. It feels like, absolutely. Of course she should. It just, it doesn't feel as shocking or surprising. But I'm grateful that they came to the decision, and congratulations to her. The fourth woman to host the ESPYs in July. So I was sharing. I said, okay, I had a question for you about boxing. Do you watch boxing? Do you enjoy boxing?
Who me? Do
Yes.
I watch boxing? I was gonna say, does pig like slop? Does does hamburgers love French fries and all that? I love me some
I
boxing.
know you covered some, some championship boxing matches, some world championship boxing matches, but
Yeah,
I was curious to know, is it one of the sports that you like?
I love sport. I love boxing. I have
Yeah.
a
Okay.
I have a strange the person oddly enough for the first time I saw Ali, told my mother I was about maybe yeah. Am I going to we gotta go to break or
And no, we have 5 minutes. But Ali was magical to me. He really
yeah.
was.
Ali was but Ali was great and I almost cried when he lost to Frazier because I wanted Ali because I found out what my mother told me what he stood for. I went and I had to read everything about Ali as a kid. And I had to do that because Ali was because I'm the greatest of all time, and all that, So you loved Ali, but it was a book. When I was in the summer reading program at this school in East Baltimore as a kid, and we went to the library. So, if you put me in a library, that's another place, that's just you put me in a library as a kid. I wanted to read history books, and I was like in Cooley College. I did read history books for fun. I just did. And so I found this one book called "It's More Than a Game," and I read the story of a boxer named Emil Griffin and this other guy named Benny Kid Paret. And what happened? Apparently Benny Kid Paret called Emil Griffith a gay slur, and as it turned out, you shouldn't you shouldn't call anybody a gay slur. But it turned out that Emil Griffith, years after that fight, was gay. But here's the problem. Here's what happened. Emil Griffith and Benny Kid Paret got in the ring, and I think Emil Griffith was so incensed with Benny Kid Paret, he killed him. He killed him in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And when I read this at about 12 years old, I looked at boxing like, dang, you could get, how when you're a kid, you're naive. You could get killed playing this sport. Yeah. And I was 12, but it was just like, but I gotta watch this some more. Not that I wanted to see anybody get killed, but there was a certain level of respect that I have for a boxer, even a second-rate boxer. Don't go up to somebody like, for example, a lot of people don't like Adrian Broner or not Costa but Zab Judah. There's some people they don't like. There's certain guys in boxing that people don't like, but you're not gonna walk up to those guys and say, man, they said you was punk, and those guys can beat you. They may not, understand something that they may, like the people who fought Sugar Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns and all those guys, they may have lost to those guys, but they can beat you.
Right. Wait, Malcolm is clowning me. Malcolm said, "What? Does Chris love boxing?" It's like, of course he does. Of course he does. We do have a family member on the phone lines. Hi there. Thank you so much for calling and welcome to the conversation. Uh-oh, Joe, are you there? I think we are. Oh, there we are. Yes, we can hear you now.
Hi, Cal. Helps you, wonderful producer and stuff, Nicholas. And hi, Chris. How you doing, Chris?
How you doing there, Germantown Joe?
Yeah, I see you busting my Cowboys earlier. We was talking to Cal about how the Green Bay did kick out, but I can't deny that. But anyway, before I talk about sports, here's the deal. Chris made a remark, Cal. He said about black people feeling certain ways when they go to Europe. But our late great ancestor, Paul Robeson, Sister Cal, he said when he went to Russia back in 1950 something, he said when he stepped foot in Russia, he said it was the first time he felt like a man.
Mm-hmm.
Because the people in Russia respected him as a man as opposed to his white contemporaries over here in America. And to me, that says it all. That says it all. But anyway, real quick on sports. The Republican Party always talk about family values, right? Well, when Donald, the ex-sleazy president, spoke in Wildwood this past Saturday, NFL Hall of Famer Lawrence Taylor was there. I'm gonna tie that together. Now, these might say that they hypocritical. They always talk about family values, but Lawrence Taylor right now, as we speak, and I don't know if you and Chris was aware of this, and Nicholas, but he has a charge hanging over his head. He still has the register as a sex offender because several years ago, he allegedly had sex with an underage prostitute. So he's right now a sex offender, but yet that didn't stop Trump from having him up there on the dais with them, and he was talking his stuff over in Wildwood this past Saturday. So much for family values. But here's the thing, Cal and Chris. I don't know whether y'all realize this or not. It's more black celebrities. When I say celebrities, I'm talking about athletes, entertainers, rappers, whatever. A lot of them that some of us might admire. A lot of them are Republicans, and they support Trump. But see, a lot of them are too scared to come out publicly and say it. You know why? Because they're scared of the backlash, and understandably so. They will get screwed by the black community. But a lot of them are Republicans, and some of us might have great admiration for. They support the racist Republican Party. Not that I'm no cheerleader for the Democrat Party. Anybody knows how I feel. I can't stand Biden or Trump. I wouldn't vote for either one of them. But that's not the point. Is that a lot of our black entertainers and athletes, they are staunch Republicans. But like I said, Cal, a lot of them won't say it because they're afraid of the backlash they'll get from the black community. That's something I throw out there for the audience to kind of think about. Okay, Cal?
Thank you for that. Thank you so much. You know what? We're going to all think about that when we come back from this commercial break. We're going to talk about that. I think that's a conversation. Family, stay with us because we will be right back.
Hey there, it's Tiffany Bacon, and I'm the host of a new show, Breaking Bread, Sundays at 11 a.m. beginning May 19th. Check out our very first episode where we feature Booker's Restaurant and Bar. My guest will be the co-owner of Booker's, Cherie Syfax, and Ernest Owens, editor of Eater Philly and host of City Council Live on Word Radio. Tune in as we discuss Black brunch culture while sampling the menu at Booker's. Who knows, this may be your next brunch destination. Tune in for some mouth-watering conversation on Breaking Bread, Sunday, May 19th at 11 a.m. on air and online at wordradio.com. We are WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
$1 million jackpot from the Pennsylvania Lottery. Scoot on down to your local retailer for your chance to win big. Don't delay. Pick up yours today. Players must be 18 or older. Please play responsibly. Problem Gambling Helpline, 1-800-GAMBLER.
When I first had my baby, I'd get comments all the time about how happy I must be. I remember thinking, I want to be happy. Why don't I feel that way? It was hard to admit that, even to my doctor. But I'm glad I did. She told me it was postpartum depression, and that is very treatable. These days, things are feeling good, and we're both happier about that. Right, little man? I'll take that as a yes.
Mental health care is working for Simone. See what it can do for you at mentalhealthcareworks.org. A message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
Teachers are diverse, skilled leaders, innovating to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Teaching shapes lives. Are you ready? Explore teaching at teach.org, supported by the U.S. Department of Education and 1 million teachers of color.
It's too black, which means it's too strong.
We're celebrating Black influence and Black excellence worldwide on the home of progressive Black Talk Media, WURD.
What is love?
You're listening to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
I think I know what love is.
Well, hey there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life with Carol Riddick and Chris Murray right here on WURD. We are talking all things sports because that's what we do on Tuesdays in the second hour. We're talking about boxing And I thought that was a very interesting comment that Germantown Joe shared with us about a lot of our celebrities, that they are actually Republicans and our supporters. Uh, I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that at all.
I mean, they're in another, I guess, income level, and I don't know. There are exceptions to that rule. I know the Williams sisters, are the exception. Some of the things that they went through playing a country club sport. I mean, Tiger Woods' dad, pretty much sheltered him, from anything remotely resembling blackness, in my opinion. And I don't know what it is, I think when you look back at football players and everything, like a lot of PWI campuses, where all the superstars are. I had a conversation with a former University of Maryland player. We were watching his son play in the summer passing league down in Maryland, and we were talking, and he was saying, I'm sorry about what you guys had to go through, and I was like, what are you talking about, And he says, well, I heard that black males at the University of Maryland outside of football, and he kind of made sure he said outside of football didn't necessarily, they struggled, staying on campus and trying, staying in school and all that, which a lot of us did for a variety of reasons. But a lot of times athletes when they tag you as a great athlete, you have all these accolades, white people around you and all that. And they keep, in most cases, I don't know how they do it nowadays, but they usually keep the big football factory schools. They keep the black athletes kind of separate away from a lot of the normal black student community. And a lot of times, and there were exceptions to that rule. The University of Missouri football team threatened to not play if this was like maybe 10 years ago. If the current president, because there was a lot of racism happening on Mizzou's campus,
right?
And basically, some of the athletes kind of stood out against that, but that's usually rare. And a lot of athletes, they're not going to speak out. And it's a funny thing, I talk about it in my book, but how sometimes athletes are sheltered away from the rest of the black student community.
Can we do a reading on one of the show? Can we just have an excerpt on one of our episodes, Chris? I'm itching.
Sure, no, I'll be happy to do it because that'll put me in book promotion mode.
We need that, Chris. We need it. Two things, though. One, we're going to go to the phone lines, and then a caller had a question for you. So first, we're going to talk with James. He's on the phone lines. He's been waiting to join the conversation. Hey there, James.
Hey, how's it going, Chris? How's it going, Carol?
No complaints.
Okay. I would like to say that as far as the WNBA, what's up with that, Chris? We need that in Philly, man.
That is the $100,000 question that I have been, because I think people here would love the WNBA. I think our girls would love it. I think our guys would love it, because I don't don't get it twisted. I'm not saying men in general, white or black, are basically we have our sexist ways about us. I'm not saying we don't. We do, but at the same time, I do notice that a lot of brothers don't mind watching the sisters play. I mean, I like basketball. I covered high school basketball for years. I mean, I covered down in the DC area, and I saw some great games. I covered girls and boys, but I kind of covered the girls more. And I've seen they're great athletes, and the thing is, they're great. One of the things that I've been looking to do, on my show and others, I want to highlight some of these people. I want to highlight them and all that. But I want to also make sure that that we can. I like to kind of get. I don't have the freedom right now to kind of get out and get around. But I love sports, and I think it would work here. It would definitely work here. If they brought Dawn Stanley here to coach that team, I don't know if she would do it, but if they brought her here to coach a team, people would come out. People would.
Okay. Well, James, thank you for that. Thank you. But yes.
Carol, I'm still looking for the bond number 9.
No, hush, James, hush. Chris, okay, I've got two things. And James, as always, thank you. We so appreciate when you call. Okay, Chris, the caller wants to know your opinion, Chris, about the Tyson Paul fight. And Eric has a question. Eric wants to know, since the bathroom rule is changing for transgendered individuals, will transgendered athletes increase and or be accepted in our professional sports? What are your thoughts on that?
Well,
so first was the caller. The caller called first to ask about your opinion on the Tyson Paul fight.
I'm not watching that fight. I might watch for giggles. I might just watch just because I like watching an accident. It's kind of like Gomez Adams, with the choo-choo trains, and he would blow up the trains when they collided. That's the kind of thing. That's the kind of thing. And my wife won't get me a train set for Christmas because that's what I want to do. But
you're a mess. Oh
yeah.
God.
So
and really quickly, because we've got 2 minutes. So really quickly.
Yeah. So I can't take that fight seriously. I'm gonna watch for the last because I'm curious and it gives me something to talk about on the radio on this show. But come on, man, do I have to watch?
Dude, you know it's a conversation. We are all waiting because we're all going to want to talk. Okay, and Eric asked about your thoughts
about transgender athletes.
Transgender, yes.
Well,
yes.
I think it'll eventually happen. I have some issues with it, but I don't want to say it in a way that offends that community and everything because I think we have to be sensitive about that. But the weird part about it, I can understand, the concerns of some women because even women, there's the runner from Namibia, Caster Semenya, and she was born a woman, but she has supposedly an abnormal amount of testosterone in her makeup, for a woman. And there have been people trying to, question her. I mean, it's a whole mosh of things. I don't understand the science and all that stuff of it, and to have an opinion. But I do welcome if we can kind of come to some, I don't know, settlement to it and everything. Because if you say one thing one way, and I'm not trying to hedge.
It's tricky.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing because I kind of understand what some people have said about it, but at the same time, I don't. Then it turns into something that we become bigots about and whatnot. So
there's a lot. So listen, I know we don't have time to talk about this, but I want to put this in your pocket. I was asking about boxing. There was a women's boxing match, and the announcer declared
I saw that fight.
Nina Hughes, yes, the winner, and then reversed it. He reversed the call in the ring, which was insane.
Oh,
Even
man,
the commentators had issues.
They called them amateur hour. Yes. Oh my God, I watched that fight and I saw that fight. The person that eventually won that fight really won that fight.
It was Trinica Johnson. Trinica Johnson was her opponent. Yes.
Yeah.
You could see the look on Trinika's face. Trinica looked as if she was saying, "Wait, what? Like what? What?" When he first made the announcement, it was the most bizarre thing I had ever seen in boxing. Period.
Oh, well, not even Fan Man.
Oh my goodness. You know what? Okay, here I go. I'm getting carried away this time. Wait, I do want to share with you. Haley Alston shared, "Hey, you mentioned boxing and Chris's eyes light up like a Christmas tree. Last week in his show, he had two of his boxing colleagues in a boxing discussion. One would have thought the three of them were in a barber shop. They it was shared. I was tickled to death listening. It was just so good. So Chris, Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Family, you already know. You already know, but you know I'm going to tell you anyway. But here we are. Here we are. Here we are. Just family, praising God from whom all blessings flow. I'm going to ask that you continue to pray as we all need it. Pray for your loved ones, pray for your enemies, pray for those in need. Just pray. I thank our guests, our guest and Chris, because for sharing time, energy, attention, knowledge, spirit, and space. I was the guest in the first hour. It was an open forum. Family, and I thank you for doing the same. Sending extra love as always. Thank you, Nick and Niall. Happy birthday to all of our love lights. Family, we're all in this together. So be good to you, but be good to those around you. Be careful and be kind. God loves you, and so do I. Have a great rest of your night, and be sure to join me Monday through Thursday, 7 till 9 p.m. Eastern Time, for another edition of Love and Life with Carol Riddick, right here on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. Have a good night, family. Have a good night. Have a good night.